What is up, guys, and welcome to another video. The Knicks drop a game 117-108 to the Orlando Magic. Now, I think one of the biggest things you go in this game, you're like, okay, the Magic are not a good three-point shooting team. Obviously, they're not a good three-point shooting team coming in this game. I think that they had one of the worst stretches in the NBA going up this game from three. I have no clue. I just heard it is awful from three. But what I've heard is that they move off ball, and I've been watching them a lot of this season, and the way they just move off ball and are well coached, the way they move without the ball is just makes up for the kind of miss spacing that they have because they don't have a lot of good shooters, but they occupy you off ball enough that Paolo can get his shots up, that Franz can get his shots up, that Suggs can get his shots up, that Fultz, he didn't play today, but Fultz can get his shots up. Those type of players can get their shots up because of all the movement. And it's not because they're good shooters, it's just because you're occupied with all the movement that they bring. Going in this game, one of my things was the guard Franz Wagner, and I was looking, okay, if Franz Wagner goes off, which he did, obviously, spoiler alert, if Franz Wagner goes off, I'm gonna look at this team and be like, Leon Rose, can I get a wing? Can I get a wing? Because what I said here is that what I kind of was talking on Twitter about is that Josh Hart's a guard. Like, I don't know if you all understand that, but Josh Hart's a guard. He just has been made a forward by Tom Thibodeau, which makes no sense to me. He's a guard, but he has been used as a small forward, and he's just your secondary defender. So if RJ don't work out, I'm defending Wagner, then you know, um, you're going to Hart. But then Hart's not tall at all compared to Franz Wagner, who's I typed it up. He's 6'10", but I think he's more 6'8". I haven't watched him in person, maybe 6'9", 6'8", but more like that. But you really need to match up with that size, and I think the Nets just keep losing. Dorian Finney-Smith, at least call about him, see his value, at least test to see his value. DeAndre Hunter in Atlanta, if you're talking about DeJounte Murray, at least go out there and see if you get honor. Like while you're at Atlanta, while you're talking to Atlanta, at least talk about honor because you need a wing right now. Um, and I just think that DeAndre Hunter needs a change of scenery. So I mean, those are just players that you could get Bogdanovich, but the Pistons are not moving Bogdanovich. I don't think they will. But the obvious ones, okay, Royce O'Neal. You talk about the Nets and Royce O'Neal. Um, Cam Johnson, maybe. These are just players that I don't want to pay. Like, what I feel like is gonna happen, and I cannot wait because I said to everybody on Twitter, like, I cannot wait till the Knicks trade for Gordon Hayward. That's all they do. Because what I said is that Thibs handcuffs Leon Rose in this front office. And do you think that Leon Rose wanted to give up Obi Toppin for 2 seconds? Thibs made him do that. Do you think? I know there's a lot of hindsight. Okay, it's better that we gave up Cam Reddish for Josh Hart. But do you think that Leon Rose wanted to give up Cam Reddish? No, it's because Cam Reddish wasn't being played by Thibs, and he's just listening to whatever Thibs wants to do. Davis is a good coach. It's just his way or the highway, and that's one of my worst things with him. And that's what I kind of talked through with myself. It's just like, why are we so bad? Because it's Thibs' way or the highway, and that's where we put ourselves in. That's where we nail ourselves in. And you could say that's mid. I don't really like to say mid because we're 17 and 14. That's not mid at all. I think mid is as people are putting out mid. I think that's the Raptors right now. We're like 12 and 19. So we're pretty good. It's just we're so handcuffed with Thibs. I bet we didn't pull the trigger on the Mitchell trade because Thibs was like, okay, I don't want to coach Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson. So, and I love my guy quitting Grimes, which, hindsight is, Grimes got pulled out from the starting lineup, but he loved quitting Grimes. So, you know, they just, Leon Rose just didn't do anything. He just pulled back and he kind of, force his hand is not really the right word because he didn't force the trade. He forced the pullback of the hand. If you to make that analogy. It's just those type of things here are just way reasons why Leon tried to upgrade the team, but Thibs just said no. This is just speculation. This is what I think happened, but shout out Thibs. He's sticking up for his boy Brunson, who's been getting whacked in these last couple of games, absolutely whacked. But I think that's something that I want to talk about later, in this video. I'm going into this game. I These two guys on the perimeter are all NBA defensive players, all defensive players. It's Anthony Black and Jalen Suggs. Jalen Suggs will get all NBA defensive team. I don't know if Anthony Black will. I don't know if there's a rookie rule. I have no clue that the voters don't like voting rookies, and I have no clue about that. But Anthony Black sure plays like one. He got the Jalen Brunson assignment, and I know, this is why I watch basketball, so I know that Anthony Black will be getting the best player on the team. And Jalen Brunson's the best player on the Knicks, perimeter wise, but or Julius Randle. I'm not gonna do that. Um, but yeah. But best perimeter player, and Anthony Black can't guard Julius Randle. So we thought, no, that's not happening. So Anthony Black guarded Jalen Brunson, and it's like, that's gonna be a pretty. That was one of the matches to watch. I kind of had a feeling that Brunson would not get. I mean, he did actually. Let's not sugarcoat it. Jalen Brunson got locked up tonight. He did get whacked a lot, but he still got locked up. And I think Anthony Black played great defense. And he has done that the whole entire season. Um this was a Julius game today. I felt like that was gonna be it, and it was. Um because of, especially the late the late scratch of Wendell Carter Jr., which Wendell Carter Jr. I've not watched this season at all, but I know that Goga Batase is not as good as Wendell Carter Jr. Even though Goga Batase is number 11 in blocks, I just feel like I feel more inclined of Reno going into Goga Batase's um like abs instead of going into Wendell Carter Jr.'s abs. Like I feel like bullying him over. I feel like it's better to go into Goga than Wendell Carter Jr. Now I might just be talking I might just be yapping, but I do think that I would rather have Julius Randle go at Goga Batase than Wendell Carter Jr. I don't know what Wendell Carter Jr. is doing defensively. Maybe Magic fans, you can tell me down in the comments, because I don't really know. He's played for a little bit because of all the injuries, and also I knew the Magic was probably going to be better with Goga in the starting lineup, because of just the chemistry with Goga, because they had this great run with Goga, and since Wendo's come back, maybe they kind of frozen up, but not that much. Um, but yeah, you got to take care of the ball, and the Knicks kind of struggled to do that. Um, the Magic are third in NBA forced turnovers, and I think the Thunder will one. So these are two teams that forced turnovers. And you know what? It's a coincidence that they're both young teams. Yeah, they're both young teams that like to get out in transition, and the Knicks just couldn't guard that in the last two games. I'm gonna get in the game. My notes for the game is that Jamal Mosley is very vocal, and he kept it up the whole entire game. He is my coach of the year pick. If I was to pick a coach of the year, the way he has been putting this Magic team together, the way he's employing defense, the way he is calling out defensive plays as the game is going on. Not just that, it's just the way he's been able to put this team together. That this Orlando team isn't really different from last year, other than getting Isaac back, but Isaac didn't play today. But just other than that, just getting the players to buy into defense, getting the players to buy into rotations, getting the players to buy into moving off ball, getting these young players to buy into sharing as a team, getting those players to buy in to loving other people's success, getting those players to buy into being selfish, getting Jalen Suggs to buy in. Maybe I think he was number 5 pick. I'm getting Jalen Suggs to buy in. Maybe he'll be a role player this year. Very, very freaking good role player. But maybe he'll be a role player this year. Maybe not the number one scorer, which he was supposed to be out of college. But he's this defensive monster that I'm going to throw at you every time. He's been able to use Anthony Black. He's been able to use his whole personnel very well this season. And I feel like he definitely outcoached Tibbs today. Um, Julius was attacking early, and I just felt like that kind of set the tone. He took 2 threes to start the game, didn't fall, but he was like, okay, I'm big and I'm in shape. Let me just go attack. Um, I prep my body for this stuff. Let's go attack. Um, there's the threes. I could live with them, but it's just like you realize the threes aren't dropping and just go right at the body. You could do that all day long. Um, they made it hard on JB. I knew it was gonna happen. I mean, Anthony Black's a special defender, as I talked about. And same with Jalen Suggs. So you're like, hey, you're seeing Anthony Black. Oh no. I mean, oh yeah, Anthony Black's off of me. But now, oh no, now I see Jalen Suggs. So it's like you can't win. Um, and once Cole Anthony gets to that defensive level, which I think he can get at, I mean, it's just one more level in his development. Is Cole Anthony's defensive ability? I think he's very good. I mean, he's just kind of injecting that defensive like kind of defensive like blood from the whole entire team, for lack of a better words, into his body and just you know bringing that defensive fire. He's also just a fiery person. All these players have great emotions, and the Magic have been able to put it together and using on the game of basketball, and be able to put it together. I know it's cliche, but being able to put it together and use it on the game of basketball, and also being able to put it together as a team, and just playing great as a team. And not a lot of young players can do that. Not a lot of young teams can put that together. Um, but they have just been able to, you know, um, just come together as a team. Um, Young teams were drawing first blood in the Knicks, and I just feel like that's one of those things that like you can't have happen. Um, when a young team starts getting on fire with you, it kind of puts you in a kind of a position, a bad position. It's like you're just running with this young team where you want to slow it down. You're like, okay, I'm the Knicks. Even though the Knicks are pretty young, but it's like you're playing at this pace where it's Stibbs pace. Like, let's slow it down. Like, this team is just punching you in the mouth, consistently punching you in the mouth in this first half. And it just isn't good for the team. Um, just isn't good to handle because just keep punching, and it's just like you can't really take it anymore because you just played a game against Thunder, who are a very young, up and coming team. I mean, they might just be there, not even up and coming anymore. They might just be here, but they're that type of team that's gonna keep punching you in the mouth, and it's really hard. I mean, I cannot wait to see what the Knicks do to counteract that against the Pacers. But yeah. Um, IQ was on a heater, but besides that, the Knicks weren't able to bottle that up. As I said about the rotations, he wasn't able to, use that kind of like heater and to kind of fan the flames of the Magic, but he just pulled him out, and that was it because Thibs just hasn't been able to use the rotations correctly of his players. I mean, Emmanuel quickly was on a heater and just took him out. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. He took RJ out when he was on a heater, but now he ain't anymore, which that's like, another thing, a whole different thing. But yeah, 12-point turnaround for the Knicks in the first quarter, which gives me evidence that the Knicks can turn around if they actually care. Like, you can't dig yourself that big of a hole. You just can't, and you just can't consistently dig yourself that big of a hole. Yes, the Knicks showed flash at the end of the game, but you can't consistently dig yourself in that type of hole. You just can't. And the Knicks just weren't able to find themselves out of that hole, but they showed signs of like, hey, we can play and we can turn around this game any second. But you have to stay close to turn that game around any second. So turning it around from a 20-point game to a 6-point game isn't the turnaround of turning it around from a 12-point game to a 12 losing by like 10 to winning by like 4. That's not the same thing. So you have to keep the game at least a little close to make that kind of turnaround actually effective. And the Knicks made that turnaround in the first quarter. And since then, it's just been like, hey, I mean, the turnaround has happened, but it's just like it wasn't it wasn't needed because you were still losing the game, and it was just like the Magic did another push, and then you were just done, and you were at the Magic's mercy. So I mean, Hart bring the ball up in like the in for the second unit, which is another thing about why do you not trust Emmanuel Quickly to bring the ball up? Like Thibodeau has to have a vendetta against Emmanuel Quickly. There's no reason that guy doesn't bring the ball up. Like we as somebody said, we put in the draft for 2 years to have a Josh Hart and Taj Gibson pick and roll. It's just it didn't look good, and it just didn't feel good to have a Josh Hart and Taj Gibson pick and roll. Shout out both of them; they both play amazing roles, and why the Knicks are 17-14 and have a winning record. But you know, um, still, it just doesn't make any sense that that's happening. Yes, Josh. Yes, I Taj Gibson sits hard screens, but first of all, you need a threat from three to set a hard screen. Josh Hart ain't there yet to be a threat from three. I mean, he just hasn't been a threat from three this whole entire season. So it's like, let's run a screen with a guy who is a threat from three because Taj Gibson sets some hard screens. I know he's old, but he can set some hard screens, and that's kind of why he's on the team. We know he can set some hard screens. We know we can get some rebounds. He'll give it his all. He knows how to flip screens and all that kind of nerdy screen talk is just what he does and what he lives off doing now as a 38-year-old player who is playing valuable minutes on a contending basketball team. Um, you know, can we stop giving the ball to the other team? That's one of my things that I put in my notes. I mean, that's just the biggest thing. You can't give these young teams room to run, especially as we go against the Pacers tomorrow. The Knicks just cannot let the Pacers go out and run. You have to take care of that ball, and the ball has to go to the point guard. And having the ball go to Josh Hart is not the way you don't turn over the basketball. It's not safe. It doesn't feel safe. Yes, it might feel safe to Thibs to give the ball to Josh Hart, but it ain't safe. Just give the ball to Emmanuel quickly, slow it down, give it to your point guard, give it to your scoring threat, and let's not go into a scoring battle with let's not go into an outpacing battle with the Pacers. Like that's one of the things they've got to clean up is turnovers. The biggest thing. If we're going to the Pacer game and we can't take care of the ball, then we're just gonna be running out of the gym. That's as simple as that. Um, that's one of the things we got to keep the ball on our side. I mean, that's obvious, but we can't just let the ball, especially active turnovers, cannot happen. Yes, you step out of the bounce by accident. Okay, against the Pacers is fine. Just give the Pacers the ball, but it's like they're not running in transition, so the Pacers thrive in transition. So if I'm Thibs, I'm gonna have to make an adjustment and be like, okay, not even adjustment. I'm gonna have to tell the team we gotta take care of the ball today. We actually have to. Like none of this, Josh Hart dribbles the ball up, tries to throw a full court pass to Manuel quickly, or tries to show a full court pass to Randall, and it just tips off, and it just goes the other team. Because if the Pacers do that, Pacers get the ball off of a live turnover. Well, just sit back, relax, eat some popcorn, and watch Tyrese Halliburton cook you, because that's what he does best. So we have to take Thibs has to tell the Knicks to take care of the ball in the game against the Pacers. Um, the Magic are a legit defensive team. I didn't say a legit team. Defensively, they are a legit team. I don't know if the 3-point shooting can translate into games in the playoffs. Being a legit team means you need to win playoff games. But again, that doesn't mean anything because, the Magic weren't even supposed to be in the playoffs starting the season. And they're 19-12. I don't think they're a legit team, but they can be that. They could definitely be that. And I wouldn't be shocked, but just offensively, they're not legit, but defensively, yes. I wouldn't be surprised if they made life tough on a team like the Celtics. If they made life tough on not the Celtics, but if they made life tough on a Damon Giannis pick and roll, they made life tough on the Knicks. If they made life tough on Jalen Brunson for a 7-game series or a 6-game series, if they made life tough for if they're in a playing game with Tyrese Halliburton, I wouldn't be surprised if they made life tough for Tyrese Halliburton. You get in those series with teams. I wouldn't be surprised if they made life tough for a Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid pick and roll kind of handoff and kind of jam that. I wouldn't be surprised because Jamal Mosley is going to have his team prepared. But you can have your team prepared as a Knicks fan. You can have your team prepared defensively. That don't matter in the playoffs. That doesn't matter. I know I'm talking playoffs. I'm moving the goalposts. I'm sorry, Magic fans. I'm trying to give your team the benefit of the doubt. I'm trying to actually look at your team from that perspective. You're we had Alec Burks and Alfred Payton in our front court, backcourt, and we just realized that. We're like, yeah, we made the 4 seed, but our front court was Alec Burks and Alfred Payton. Yes, his Magic front court is better than Alec Burks and Alfred Payton, but is his front court going to win you a playoff series right now? I don't. Is his backcourt? Oh God, is his backcourt going to win you a playoff series? I don't think so. I wouldn't be surprised if it is. Just don't go in my comments if they win a playoff series and go, oh, I told you so. No, they could. But I just don't think offensively they can keep up with a team like the Pacers. Or they can keep up with a team like the Pacers. They can definitely keep up with a team. But I don't think they can keep up with like a team with Joel Embiid with a superstar. I don't think they can. But I think they can make life tough for Maxey. But I just don't see Batase. I don't see Wendell Carter Jr. being enough to stop Embiid. I don't see like Go Batase and Wagner and Paolo and Wendell be enough to stop Giannis or even contain Giannis. But I think they got Dame on lock. But it's about Giannis and the pick and roll. It's how will you adjust the pick and roll? And Jamal Mosley was really good at that. I thought he was really good at that, really knowing when to go under, when to go over, and how his players should switch over the pick and roll, switch under the pick and roll, hedge, drop, um, trap. He was really good at that. Double, like he picked a spot where he's gonna double. He didn't double the whole entire game. You give a player like Jalen Brunson a steady diet, he's gonna cook you. So they did not give him a steady diet of a two man of a trap, but they didn't give him a steady diet of anything. They gave you a trap on possession. They gave you heads. They gave you a switch. Like they gave you everything. If they give Tyrese Maxey, give Joel Embiid everything, it could be a hard series for the 76ers. I wouldn't just book the Magic to lose that series. I mean, I would, but I wouldn't say they would lose in 4. Maybe a 6-game series. Maybe they injure somebody on the 76ers. Don't waste for injuries. Maybe they injure somebody in the first round because they're playing so hard because they're trying to win that game against the Magic. And it's like, okay, I'm a team like the Sixers. I want to coast to the first round, but you're playing the Magic. So it's like you can't really post to the first round. So they could be a team like that. They could definitely be a team like that. But besides that, I don't trust them offensively yet from the 3-point line. But they could win a game or two. They could definitely win a game or two in the playoffs, and that's growth. Because we would never, ever think the Magic would be up at this high in the before the season. If you did, you were a Magic fan, and still no Magic fans. I think would be 19-12 with this amazing defense under Jamal Mosley, unless you're Jamal Mosley's brother or Jamal Mosley's dad or mom. Then you probably thought the team was gonna be great. But if you weren't that, then you didn't think that this team would ever be this good. But they are. I mean, look at this team. They can play defense at a high level. They can play offense. They can't play offense at a high level, but they're getting there. They're getting there. That's where you get improvement. You have Cole Anthony come off the bench. I didn't even talk about Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony can go shot for shot with, a lot of these bench players. So, you have that for the future. Just he can get a more of an outside game, and then boom, you got yourself an offensive threat that you can throw at teams, and make them adjust to that offensive threat. But for now, they don't have that. But when Cole Anthony, when Cole Anthony perfects an outside game, then you can throw Cole Anthony at a team, and I'm gonna have to adjust in the playoff series to him. But not yet because he didn't perfect his outside shot yet. He's more of just a drive downhill type player, but he will perfect that outside game. When he does, a team will have to adjust to him. Shout out the New Yorker, Cole Anthony, for that performance today. But that's it. Have a nice day, and let's go Knicks. Let's see if we can pick up a W in Indiana tomorrow.